Today on the Riff, Martz sits down with April and Everett Holman to talk about his dream job, owning a donut shop, and all things Kid Point. We hope today's conversation is helpful. Thanks for listening. And now I want a donut. Thanks, John.
Welcome to another episode of The Riff, and I'm here with April and Everett Holman.
Hi.
Oh, here we go. You get comfortable with this mic. Yeah, cozy on up.
Get up in there.
So I will say this. You just heard an electric, amazing voice right before Austin, our host. I always love coming out of those.
Right.
And I never know what he's going to say, honestly. So
great.
I don't even know what he's going to say for this one, but I'm excited. And then you hear two more silky smooth voices. You've got April over here. April leads our Kid Point experience from a central standpoint. Walk me through a little bit. What is that?
What is Central? Yeah. What is Kid Point?
Is this Jeopardy? I like it. For 500.
For 500, Alex. Oh, it's not Alex anymore. I'm so sorry. Central Kid Point, we resource all 4 of our campuses with all of the curriculum and fun stuff that kids get to engage with every week. And we try to be helpful with whatever campuses might need in order to pull off the fantastic weekends that they pull off every weekend.
Ooh. And you are married to Mr. Everett.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Mr. E, according to Tam. Mr. E.
How does everyone know Mr. Everett?
They know Mr. Everett because he is the Twos Whisperer, I believe is what he used to be called.
I've had so many name tags. I had one that said Dot Marker Enthusiast. I've had Twos Whisperer, the Bubble Man. I mean, different people have given me lots of different names. Mr. E right now is what Tam tends to call me.
Bubble Man makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I'd go back there, I'd always go, selfishly, I'd go check on my daughter, Sloane. And when she was 2, Mr. Everett was her teacher in Kid Point. And I'd always hit him at a perfect time. The bubbles were flowing and the kids just go crazy. And you've been serving in that Twos room for a decade? How long?
So we think 11 years. Like, things were a little different back then when we started. Now we know exactly how many, because back then there wasn't like background checks and all that sort of stuff. But now there are, so we would know how many. But we think it's 11 years based on some of the kids and the ages that we had at the time.
Okay, and I've got so many questions. I want to talk about Kid Point. I want to talk about serving. I want to talk about your story a little bit. But before I do that, I want to talk about April, you had my dream job for a little while.
I did?
Donut shop owner?
Oh, I did.
I did. One time we went, I don't even remember why. We went and got donuts as a team, and you were like, yeah, I used to own something like this. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I did. It's actually right after he and I met and got married. We opened and it was a lovely little donut shop. And it's the unfortunate part of a donut shop is the hours.
You have to wake up pretty early to make donuts?
I mean, early is relative. It's about 1 a.m. When young adults are going to bed, I was getting up to go in to make the donuts. And so it's a small little donut shop. It was me. They talked about how I had staff. No, it wasn't. It was just me. You did come in on the weekends and help.
I did, and truly, it owned us. We didn't own it, and we weren't smart like the Hertz Donuts people. Make a donut and put $3 worth of cereal on it and charge $5 or whatever.
Yeah,
they are much more intelligent than we were. But it was a miserable year of our life, but we learned a lot.
We did.
You did it for the love of the game.
I did used to love donuts.
You did.
Yeah, I did. Not anymore.
So you don't like peruse to a donut shop and you're like, let me pick up a couple, and then you're like, no, I'm done. I'm out.
No, there's one kind.
Okay.
One kind.
Well, what is it?
That's a blueberry cake. That's
St. George blueberry cake?
Any blueberry. I mean, now Hertz has one. It's got like a lemon zest.
Okay.
That's good.
Oh,
lemon zest blueberry?
Oh, yeah.
I tried a Pop-Tart like that the other day. I loved and hated it.
Okay.
It was unique.
Right.
It was unique.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I do want to talk about today is I want to talk about Kid Point. I want to talk about serving, but I'd love to hear, how did you both start coming to North Point? How'd you hear about it? What prompted you to pop in for the first Saturday or Sunday?
Well, we didn't really hear about it. Somebody saw it being built a long time ago.
So we lived in Joplin, and I've been in sales for a long time. And so my territory at that time was Joplin, Branson, West Plains, but it did not include Springfield. So I drove around Springfield a lot. And so I watched North Point being built, and I don't know what it was. It was, I was drawn to the building. I think it was the Star Trek symbol or something that was on the outside of it.
We used to have an incredible logo.
It was great. It was
very unique, and I, for whatever reason, I thought that was, it was a cool looking building. But we lived in Joplin at the time. Then in 2011, we kind of got blown to Springfield. And
there was a tornado.
Yeah, a tornado. So there was, we were looking for a house, and I was trying to work, and I was driving all over, and she kept texting me addresses to go look at houses. And
I was trying to be helpful.
Randomly, I didn't even realize where I was. I had been driving so much, but there was a house pretty close behind North Point, and then when I pulled in and I called her, I'm like, I don't know why, but I think this is it. And it turned out to be it. I mean, it's not anything spectacular. It just ended up to be being the house that, I don't know, I think God put us in so that we would be close to church, because we're not going to drive very far to go to church.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm glad you admitted it. Okay. I would guess that
we're still late.
There's a lot of people here at North Point that are like, hey, I love North Point because it's 2 minutes from my house. So I totally get it. It's helpful. Hopefully there's other reasons too, but that's maybe what started you.
It's very helpful. Very helpful.
The building's not as cool 20-some years later, but it is. Yeah. It is what it is.
It's still good. It's still good. There are still good parts.
Okay, so you saw it being built. You're like, hey, I feel kind of drawn to it. So you show up on a weekend. You just like Google it. Hey, let me look up the time. You show up. What was that experience like? And I know you said that was 2011, 2012?
2011, 2012. Okay. Like we were off and on at first. Like our marriage, we've told the story a million times, but like our marriage wasn't in the best place. There'd been a lot of transition and change with moving and all that. I like people. Some people like to sit in the basement surrounded by books and Netflix. But
I don't know who he's talking about.
Are you saying that opposites attracted?
It feels like a personal attack.
Like my support group of all of my friends that I used to hang out with were all an hour away.
Gotcha.
And so then we moved to Springfield, and it was definitely some struggles. And I'm like, we need to get into a church, get to some community. And hey, there's one right there. So we started going. We sat in the same place every week.
We had our chairs.
At that time, it was Joe Freeman, and the music was just spectacular. Not that it's not now, but we were just really drawn to that. And I don't know, we really sort of enjoyed it and kind of felt at home. But we were off and on there for a while. And then, this is your part. This is where you.
This is where April shines.
We've told the story obviously to people because it's impactful, right? Mm-hmm. But we were sitting in church and we came in one Sunday and there are cards on the seats and they were talking about groups, and he is looking down very intently as I'm watching what's happening, and he's like, hey, there's groups. There's this group, and it's called Married and Awesome, and we're married and I'm awesome, so we should go be in this group. And I'm like, okay, that seems right. So we joined a marriage small group. And because, like he said, we weren't in the best spot, honestly. And he is always really good at recognizing what we need before I do. And a little bit maybe has to push me into things.
Well, he's in sales.
Well,
it just makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
It's the getting there part that's hard for me. Like once I get there, it's great.
Totally.
But getting there is hard. And so he's like, we're going to go. I'm signing us up. And so we joined Dan and Patty Cogswell's small group. And it was great because they are people who will just draw you in and bring you in. And so it wasn't very long after we joined when their daughter, Kinley, came up and said, hey, if you fill out this piece of paper, this is how long ago, it was not online, anything, this piece of paper to serve in Kid Point, I get a $5 Sonic gift card. I'm like, okay, baby.
How do you say no to that? You don't say no. You don't say no. You just say yes.
I'm like, yes, of course I will. And of course I had to, have him go with me. And that started the journey. We actually came into Kid Point and they're like, hey, we're going to train you in separate rooms. And so we learned a little bit about what was going on. And then we were put in a room together, and that was the twos room. about 11 years ago.
Okay, and so you've graduated from the twos room.
Did.
I've seen you in other rooms before. Mr. Everett, I've never seen in another room.
No, not unless it's camp or there's something else going on.
Like the preschool kids scare me. They're
stop.
a little much. So.
Stop.
I will say that Mel and I have served in a few different areas in Kid Point, Zone 45, and we actually kind of started in the twos room.
Oh.
Which was great. Or around the twos room. I think it was, infant, toddler type area. And it was great. And I remember I was serving with Mel and I said, hey, I'd like to maybe be with some of the kids that could talk. I feel like that would be better. And so we ended up serving in preschool one week. And it was a tough weekend. It just, sometimes
sure, that happens.
There are kids that are regulating to that new area, that new space and environment. And I get ran all over. I am not a teacher. I am not I'm like you want to do whatever you want? I love it. I remember there was one kid that it was just had a difficult week. And as he was leaving, I remember him saying, and I feel like this never happens. Okay. But as he was leaving, he was like, I hate you, and I hate you. And I'm like, oh my, and pointed at me and Mel and the whole place. And I'm like, all right. So then I started serving back in twos. That was great. I was like, hey, these kids. But that was a one experience. I've served many, many years, and I've never had that experience again.
Listen, that's my favorite thing about kids, though. The minute you walk in, they know, they will tell you.
Yes.
You don't have to wonder, with adults, what they're thinking or what their intention is. Kids will be like, what's wrong?
Yeah, why do you smell funny?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't think I do I? Oh, my word. Thank you.
It's the best. The best. They're so honest.
There's no filter. I know so much about parents that they don't want me to know. It's
what has Sloan told you?
All kinds of things.
And Beckham before her.
Yeah. Classic.
So no, there is no filter with them. But the great thing about the twos is they're just sort of getting that they want to be brave, but they also want to feel safe, and it's it's a really cool time to do the twos room. But this whole story that we've told now for 10 years, that all started back before I had gray hair, and Kinley is actually about to graduate high school.
Yeah, next year.
So much stuff that has gone on, awesome things that happened in Kid Point and with North Point since that point in time, and if you're listening, the whole point of us being here is to inspire you to come and serve in Kid Point. And so what we want to do is maybe kind of
anywhere.
Or anywhere.
Anywhere is good.
Kid Point's a good option.
Come on.
Kid Point, it's the place.
So it is. It's a good place to go. Even April graduated out and she moved on and now works at North Point. But what North Point has done for her and her ability to come out of her shell and be more of a leader, and she's a totally different person than she was back when we started serving together. And it's amazing, what she's done, what North Point has done for her with Kid Point.
What God has done, in all honesty, because I hardcore introvert.
Yeah.
Hardcore introvert, 6 also.
Come on.
World scares me. But I think that God looks at those things and goes, are you cute? Let's see what we can do about that. Mm-hmm. And puts people in your path. And you can choose whether you want to follow that or you don't want to follow that. And when someone asked me to step out of the twos room, I was like, you sure? You sure about that?
Am I getting demoted?
Okay. But what they wanted me to do was step into a different leadership role, and be out there talking with parents and hanging out and getting people engaged and getting people to join the team as well. And then when we went through a layoff with work for him, and he's like, hey, you gotta go find a job. And I'm like, okay.
Where? Yeah, Jobland? What do I do?
I hadn't worked in a while. Probably not. No, I had worked at a church in Joplin for a little while, but I had stayed home with the kids, and our daughter had some health issues, and so. But he's like, hey, you gotta get a job. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm like, okay. And so I start interviewing. I interview. I hear nothing. These are great interviews. I used to work HR back in the day, and I'm like, I crushed that. What? Except for the one at North Point, and that was really bad. But then in that interview sat Ashley, Eisminger. And after the interview was over, she came up. She's like, "Hey, would you want to work in Kid Point?" I was already volunteering. She's like, "Would you want to work?" And I'm like, "I mean, I don't know. It's part-time and I need full-time." And I went home and I talked to him and he looked at me and I explained and he's like, "Well, you got to do it." I'm like, "What do you mean? I mean, it's only part-time." He's like, "Come on. You know that's what you want to do. You got to do it." And so I did take the job. And 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in my office at North Point, and I got calls from the other people that I had interviewed with offering me jobs. So God knew that I would have taken those jobs, but it wasn't the job that I needed. Because the hardcore introvert of almost 8 years ago is a different human now, and that's through God going, "Hey, I need you to do this and do this and take these steps." And really all started with groups and serving.
How many years has that been? So whenever you started working at North Point to now?
It'll be 8 years in May.
8 years. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Think about those 8 years. Those 8 years were some major ups and downs. Like, we just recently went through a transition.
Yeah.
If there's any North Pointers that think that there was anything rough that happened during that transition, they should have been around for the last transition. Because you guys
I'll take this one.
I'll take this one.
You did an amazing job of getting everything to go through smoothly. And like from my little window in the twos room, I didn't know anything was happening. Everything went smooth and it was great. Last time was a lot of ups and downs and a lot of transitions and a lot of people coming in and going and changing. And April ended up, it's a long story, I'll make it very short, but she ended up being the Kid Point director of the Norton campus. So Jeremy comes and everything's going good and it just starts to build and build and build. Then there's transition, and long story short, it ends up just being her. And she has the entire thing. And we're taught, you had young adults at the time.
Sure.
And remember the numbers of the people that were there.
Oh, yeah.
We're at the height of the Jeremy Johnson era. COVID. We had 3 services on Sunday. We had Saturday. We had people sitting in the lobby because there wasn't enough room inside. And she's freaking out because she has to have an army of volunteers because there was no central.
There's no need to share that part.
There was no central bringing in stuff. She had volunteer. Central. And I know there are more people, but I love when you say Central was the Bermans. The Bermans are a family, large family at North Point that she would bring in and basically have them do all the curriculum. And
they helped me cut and sort. And
those were the favorite stories. She would come home stressed out on a Sunday, but after she's been with the Bermans, she would come home in a great mood about everything. But
it's also asking someone to step in a role that wasn't a role. I just needed help. Yeah. And there are so many opportunities like that in all areas, but especially in kids, for people to do stuff that isn't necessarily with kids. We have a wonderful volunteer who writes our birthday postcards and writes other postcards for us. So there are so many things that you can do outside of being central. We have a whole warehouse full of so many fun things for kids, but it takes an army of people to make all of that happen. So.
Like you went from not even knowing if you wanted to have a job to managing all of that. And that's like a testament to you and a testament to Kid Point and North Point for giving her the opportunity, because they're like multiple teams. She had teams of people that came in just to clean toys, and all of this stuff. It was very impressive. And that was the only time in my tenure that there hasn't been a need for volunteers. We had more volunteers.
There is always a need for volunteers.
We'll get creative.
She kept stealing my kids.
We talk very often about
the overflow room
containers for people, and if you want to have people find a place, you got to create a space, and whatever that looks like is what I'm willing to do.
Well, I love that because a lot of people would say, I don't want to serve kids. I don't want to serve a kid. I'm not good with kids.
Yeah.
Right? Which would be that would be what I would say. I'm like, they run all over me. I don't know if I'm the right person for that. I love that you think I am. Honored. Right? At the same time, but it is so interesting where you're like, well, there's check-in, there's check-out, there's running the store, there's cleaning the toys, there's all the things throughout the week of curriculum prep and cutting and pasting and making sure that the games and everything's ready to go. You could think of unendless tasks and tasks that aren't just like, hey, can you do that? Can you do that? It's like, hey, this is critical for creating a safe place.
100%.
So that when kids show up, Mr. Everett can rock a room and like kids hear about Jesus. Well, and you set that foundation deep.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things about serving when I first started serving is, and I didn't even know this was a thing until I started serving, is parents walk up and the kids are crying and they're upset. And they're like, I just don't know. And they're nervous and I'm nervous, but I grab this kiddo and I come into the room and they're like, they don't stay anywhere. I'm so sorry. Like, if you need to call us or text us, like, just do that and we'll get, and I'm like, okay. But also, challenge accepted. I am going to give this kiddo a great experience and we're going to have so much fun. And at some point, I'm going to send that parent a snapshot of that kiddo either playing or coloring or at least not crying and upset so that they get to sit in service and they get what they need. And they know that their kiddo is safe where they are. And so that for me was like, oh, that's inspirational, right? I get to be that person who brings those kiddos in and hangs out with them. And we get to spend that time together and their big people get to go and get what they need and know that they're good. And so that was one of my favorite parts that I didn't even know was a part, right? You come in, you're with kids, you hang out, you teach them about Jesus, but there's also, they're big people, right? They get to go and they get to sit. And having this guy in that room, so helpful because when you have, the bubbles are a bit much some days. The old praise and worship band with the drums and
it wore out.
cymbals.
They were falling apart.
Yeah, but it, I don't know, we had a great partnership in the room of being able to hang out with kids and
I can't remember the last time we actually called a parent to get a kid. Now that's not all me because first it was you and then Skylie and Lydia, they were awesome, and then Alicia was with me for a long time, and now Amanda, and because sometimes kids need a mom. Or need a female to feel comforted. But usually, if they hang out with me long enough, we get to where we do the same thing every week. Every week, 3 to 5 minutes of fun, sprinkle in a little Jesus per activity. And you just go, and it's a group mentality. So like if the kid doesn't want to do it, eventually they get to where they're like seeing the other kids have fun and they kind of work themselves into it. But it's great because we've had so many parents that are like, the kids won't stay anywhere.
Yep.
But they, for whatever reason, they stay, at Kid Point.
Week after week, I hear families say, this is the first place I've ever, left my kids. And then I went into the auditorium. I, trusted the church, or I trusted these, background checked volunteers that we've vetted, that we've equipped, that we've trained, that are incredible. And parents are able to find and follow Jesus because of the environment that's provided in Kid Point. Walk me through, the last 10 years. And you've been in a room, you've been in a twos room, and you've said there's so much that has happened. We talked about the beginning of that story. There's been so much that's happened. Walk me through any stories or what that's done in your life or in your heart.
So we used to do this before. It's the names. It's the names of the kids that you remember. There are a lot of kids that come and they're not impacted by me because they don't need me. They don't need that safe place because they feel safe anyway. But then there are kids that need to have that safe place, or just ones that hit your heart. Paisley was the first one for her. Corianta's daughter, Gabby was her best friend, and then just throughout the years,
we became best friends. It didn't start that way.
Often those are the best ones.
Friends over time. And one of the things about Corey was that her mom is that she was one of those that dropped her off and said, hey, listen, she doesn't stay anywhere. We're just going to try it. You just let me know. Yeah. And super nervous, stood out watching the cameras to see the room. And I'm like, let's go. And Gabby and I played, and I sent her a picture, and she came back. And with just this stunned look of, oh, okay. Because I'm like, Gabby, your mom's here. And she's just going, and she was just so amazed that she came back week after week, and she's like, I want to serve in a place that creates this for kids like my daughter, who I literally couldn't drop her anywhere without her not being able to stay. And I'm like, yeah, of course. But you've got those kids that struggle in a lot of areas of life. And they come and you work to help them to not only create that safe space, but help them take those first steps into being a part and being in the room with other kids and engaging, which I just love.
And you ask about individual kids. So like Sloan was awesome. Like I love Sloan. She's
so funny,
adorable. But you start back at like Evan Freeman. We were talking about him earlier. Him and Corbin. They're both close to high school age. They were the first boys, and the boys always want to beat me up, and the girls always want to feed me. And so that's you know, it's kind of the way that it works, and you just get to where you get to know them, and then throughout the years, Emerson, I don't remember Emerson's last name, but I loved him. He was a great little kid. Malachi Shabam, he taught me more than any other kid ever has. He showed me every weakness that I possibly had in doing the room. If there was a way to get himself hurt, he was on the way of doing it. And so like the kids like that you remember are just, I don't know, you just remember them forever. I follow their parents on Facebook quite a bit, just kind of watch them grow up. And we've had some kids that have special needs, and it's really rewarding, I guess, to help kind of get them at that age group to where they can fit in a little bit better with the rest of the world. It is, I don't know, for me, it's like a trifecta of, I have to believe, then I have to, if you believe, you go along with behaviors. So, and then I have to prove to myself that I believe, which is typically through tithing. And then on the third part, and I grew up in church, but I never knew how important serving was. I, for a long time, just didn't connect all the dots. But then once I started serving, and it took a while, and I'll throw a Jeremy Johnson quote out, that the miracle is on the other side of the discipline. And every time he said that, it always kind of hit with me, because you do it long enough and then you realize why you're doing it, why this is why God wants you to be there. It's like anyone that isn't able to fully connect the dots, or they're questioning, and you're going to church and doing the things, I really do think serving is a super important part, because it helps you to connect the dots. I told April this the other day, that some people feel closest to God when they're hearing a sermon or they're hearing worship music. Some people feel closest to God when they're, on a hike or whatever. And then like some people like me feel closest to God when we're serving. And for me, that's sitting at a little table with my hands clasped over a coffee filter full of animal crackers and goldfish. And we say our little prayer. And the first time some little guy or gal says the prayer, it kind of gets you right here. And then you know where you're supposed to be and why you're doing what you're doing. So anyway, that's why I do it. And I think that if someone needs help connecting the dots, it's a great way to start serving and see if that helps.
Okay, what would be my first step? So if I hear that and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think that's something I haven't tried, right? Maybe I've tried a bunch of other things. That's the one thing that I'm like, I'm nervous. I don't know. Am I signing my life away if I do that? How do I know if I'll find the right fit? What's kind of the first step that someone could take to saying yes to serving?
So if you want to do it?
No,
so if it's Kid Point, those
or
little,
any place, those little cards.
Those little cards, little connection cards, fill that thing out. Right on at Kid Point, we'll serve. But then I'm going to, I'm in sales. I'm going to challenge you. Let's go more than once or twice. Get to know Tam or Rogan's mom. I think her name's Morgan.
Stop it.
Get to know.
You only know the staff by their
kids. Their kids. You notice you threw out Sloan pretty quickly.
That's
so
awesome.
there's also Janessa and Hayden and Julie and Des.
So get to know the Kid Point director wherever you are, and talk to them. Be honest with them. Don't give it once or twice and say this isn't good for me. Yeah. Because honestly, like I said, preschool kids, I'm not going to preschool. They
you
are
and me
scary.
both. You and me both, my friend.
Zone 45.
No, Zone 45 was a good time. Zone 45 was a good time.
That is fun. Yeah. I'm down with Zone 45. Every age group is different, and you might not be in the right place. Or they might put you in a room with some weird guy that has this affection for bubbles. And it's loud and obnoxious.
And they have a mini Kid Point band.
And that may not be for you. So talk to them, let them know what's working, what's not working, and they will help you to find the right fit. But if you give it some time, I think that I don't know how you could not love hanging out with the kids and working on making the world a better place, because there's lots of things in the world that we don't like. Posting on social media has a 0% return rate. Working with a kid and being impactful in their life and showing up, that has a 100% return rate.
Yes.
I'd say whether you're a grandma and you're like, I want to rock some babies, we got an opportunity for you. Maybe you're someone who's like, I don't enjoy kids. Oh, one, okay. But two,
you sure? Let's come on.
Prove it. Two, we've got opportunities throughout the week for you to be involved, for you to make a difference, for you to say, hey, I want to help create a safe place for people to find and follow Jesus. Maybe you're someone who doesn't have kids, and you have nieces and nephews that you adore and you love and you want to hang out, you want to be a great mentor to them. You can be a mentor in our elementary area, right? There's maybe you're a college athlete, okay? And you're like, I just want to beat kids in sports. Okay, we got an opportunity in Zone 45. There's lots of games. It takes lots of hand-eye, okay? And a lot of opportunity to put them in their place, okay? But it's a great time. All I have to say, no matter what your situation is, I know it's easy to find obstacles. It's easy to find excuses as to why, well, now might not be the right time and this might not be the right fit. And I just say, come talk to us.
Yeah.
We'd love to explore that option and see what that could look like. And I want to let you know, a safe place to help people find and follow Jesus doesn't happen without our Kid Point environment. And I have so much pride in our Kid Point environment. April and our staff and the way that they provide that. Everett and our volunteers. This would not happen without, you said, an army of people. They're saying yes to this mission. That are saying, hey, I'm going to care about these kids like they're my own, and watching them grow, watching them experience who Jesus is, understand that, set an anchor down deep in their heart where later on in their years of life, when they do whatever they end up doing, you always come back and say, yeah, but I know God's real. I've experienced him.
Foundation. Those people.
That starts there.
Yep. Just like teachers that you've got that you remember that were impactful for you. I also have people in the church that I grew up in who were impactful for me. And now every week, Mr. E gets to be that person to a bunch of kids, not just kids, but parents who come and want to talk and want to share. It's such a wide span of kids' ages and things, but they're so it's so impactful because that's the next generation of believers. And if we can plant that seed, if we can give them that foundation, they can take that into the next steps in life and carry that. It's just, I don't know. I get very excited when I talk about it because I love what we're doing, and I love the mission and the vision of who we are in Kid Point, and that's really just creating a safe place for all kids to come and be and learn about Jesus. And anybody, anytime,
they
anywhere.
won't remember me necessarily at 2, but hopefully they remember the feeling.
Yeah.
So that when you're out in the real world and you deciding whether or not you stay in church, go back to church, you remember the feeling of the safe place.
Yeah, and you can look back and you can smile at that experience. And I love that you can look back and say, even if they don't remember me, I remember them. They impacted me just as much. Maybe not their
There's
name,
a lot of kids.
The way they felt.
Hey, buddy, how are you? High five.
But Everett and April, thanks for being on the podcast. Love having you. And Riff Raff, we will see you again next week for another episode.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.